And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We turn now to the death of Korean leader Kim Jong-il. State-run television announced Monday he had died Saturday at the age of 69 after reportedly suffering a heart attack while traveling on a train. Known as the Dear Leader, Kim took over North Korea in 1994 following the death of his father, Kim Il-sung. The two men are the only leaders North Korea has known since the Korean peninsula was formally divided in 1948. Under Kim Jong-il's leadership, North Korea became a nuclear state. In 2003, North Korea quit the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty after the Bush administration refused to hold bilateral talks and uphold an agreement to supply light water reactors. 3 years later, North Korea tested its first nuclear device. North Korea, under Kim Jong-il, is widely known as one of the most repressive societies in the world. While it was becoming a nuclear state, an estimated 1 million of its citizens died during a famine in the 1990s. The United Nations estimates at least 200,000 people have died or languished in a state security apparatus that includes forced labor camps, prisons, and public executions. North Korean authorities released video footage of dozens of mourners sobbing uncontrollably in a public square upon the news of Kim Jong-il's death. Those images provided by North Korean state media. South Korea put its military on alert following the news of Kim Jong-il's death. Not long after, North Korea reportedly test-fired a missile off its northern coast. The two sides have technically been at war since the signing of the Korean armistice in 1953. Kim Jong-il's youngest son, Kim Jong-un, is expected to become North Korea's new leader, but it's unclear if his ascendancy will bring about any real changes. Kim Jong-il ruled North Korea in concert with a large circle of regime insiders who remain at the helm. While the Obama administration's continued the Bush stance of refusing direct negotiations, it's engaged with North Korea indirectly through the six-party talks alongside South Korea, Japan, China, and Russia. In Washington, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said the U.S. maintains hope for better relations with North Korea, but also concern for the plight of its people.
We both share a common interest in a peaceful and stable transition in North Korea, as well as in ensuring regional peace and stability. We have been in close touch with our partners in the six-party talks today. We reiterate our hope for improved relations with the people of North Korea and remain deeply concerned about their well-being.
For analysis on the death of Kim Jong-il and what it means for North Korea, the Korean peninsula, and the world, we begin our coverage in Seoul, South Korea, where we're joined by Chung-in Moon, professor of political science at Yonsei University and editor-in-chief of Global Asia, an English quarterly magazine. He previously served in the South Korean government and was involved in diplomatic efforts with the North Korean government. We welcome you to Democracy Now! Can you talk about the significance of the North Korean leader's death and why South Korea is now on high alert?
But I think it is very much a precautionary measure because North Korea is going through the national mourning period. Therefore, North Korea is really obsessed with internal issues. Therefore, there's no great threat coming from North Korea. But given the past history of animosity and confrontation between two Koreas, our government has taken precautionary measure to stabilize the situation.
You actually met Kim Jong-il in 2000. Talk about the context of the meeting and explain explain his significance in the Korean peninsula.
I met him twice, one in 2000 and the other in 2007 during the two Korean summit talks. And I was very much impressed with the way he performed during those two summit talks. But he was a paramount leader of North Korea, and he was really dictating North Korean policy on South Korea, on the United States. Therefore, he has really unprecedented power in his hands Therefore, he was dictating North Korean destiny. At the same time, he was influencing inter-Korean relations. Therefore, I would say that he has a very important stature in the Korean history.
The intelligence services of South Korea, of the United States, of China have been humiliated by what happened over the weekend. They did not know that Kim Jong-il had died until it was announced by the Korean media. What about the relationship between South Korea and North Korea? For people in the United States, although the U.S. is deeply involved in the militarization of the peninsula, the most militarized area on Earth, there's really very little knowledge about the Korean peninsula, about what happens in North Korea, let alone South Korea.
During the past decade of the President Kim Dae-jung and President Roh Moo-hyun, there were quite high level of interactions between North and South Korea. Therefore, North Korean society was kind of exposed to South Korean society. But since the inauguration of President Lee Myung-bak, there have been very worsened relationship between North and South Korea. And there was a death of one tourist in Mount Geumgang area, and also there was a shelling of Yeonpyeong Island and torpedoing of our naval vessel. And all these things strained into Korean relations. And our government suspended all kinds of exchanges and cooperation with North Korea. But I think that has really delimited our access to intelligence in North Korea.
The fact that the Korean peninsula is the most militarized area on Earth, from your perspective in South Korea, Chung-in Moon, could you talk about the U.S. involvement in the region and how originally North and South Korea became separate countries?
When the Second World War was over, there was a so-called Yalta meeting. And in the Yalta meeting, there was a kind of tacit agreement between the United States and the Soviet Union to divide the Korean peninsula. Therefore, Korean division was a direct product of the new beginning of the Cold War in 1945. And then afterwards, United States, as occupation force in southern part of the Korean peninsula, returned South Korean sovereignty to South Korean people. And on the other hand, North Korea was under the occupation of Soviet Union, and Soviet Union set up its puppet government in Pyongyang. And Kim Il-sung was the leader anointed by the Soviet Union. In that way, the Korean peninsula was divided. In 1948, South Korea became the Republic of Korea as a sovereign, independent sovereign state. And North Korea was declared as a Democratic People's Republic of Korea in 1948. That was a fixed division of the Korean peninsula.
We're going to break and then bring other guests into this discussion from Amnesty International and the Korea Policy Institute. Our guest in Seoul, South Korea, Professor Chung-in Moon. He is Professor of Political Science at Yonsei University and Editor-in-Chief of Global Asia, an English quarterly magazine. Met with Kim Jong-il twice in 2000 and 2007. This is Democracy Now! Back in 60 seconds.